Yeah, this countdown thing is new.
Yeah. That was the big improvement, aside from increasing the price of this fucking software this year.
Yeah, no one knows what we're talking about because they probably don't see it. But like, it used to just like start. You could probably tell from our previous intros. But now when we start, it does like a countdown from 5. So
yeah, we get a warning, so Rod can't fuck me by recording when I don't know what's happening.
Welcome to Cyclops is Waiting for Me, an X-Men animated recap podcast with the Marvel Anime X-Men Episode 2, You-Men. JC just told me that he didn't get the pun until he said it out loud.
Dude, I've been reading it for 20 years, and it was like just until I heard it, I was like, oh, fuck.
That's so funny, because like, yeah, I've forgotten that this was an episode in this show, but when I saw it pop up, I was like, oh, that's pretty clever, you know, as opposed to like
You-Men, X-Men, You-Men, fuck my life, apparently.
As opposed to like Friends of Humanity or something, you know, and then I didn't know till last episode when you told me that it was actually a comic run. I thought it was something done for the show because it was like a clever like Japanese pun or something. But
no, this did start with the like mid 2000s. So
okay, very cool. Well, and I'm Rod, and I forgot to bring this up or have this last time, but like we mentioned, I have the actual DVD. This is like a legit copy. There's no frills on it though. I mean, there's some special features, but it's basically just
that is the most basic as shit DVD, and that's all it needs to be. Maybe we like there's 2 featurettes. I don't know, maybe depending on how strapped we are for episodes this year, maybe we'll get Rod, we're definitely going to be doing a few more movie watch-alongs this year. So
like one of the featurettes says re-examining the X-Men, and the other one's X-Men: A Team of Outsiders. So who knows? Maybe those would be worth looking into. But those are the only other special features on this. But as a beautiful artwork, I just noticed the armor was on there, like you were saying. I didn't realize that she was one of the characters. So. But yeah,
I love that you've watched this before and you forgot one of the key characters to the show.
Yep. It's but like we mentioned last episode, to my credit, it was like nearly 15 years ago. I was drinking and I forget stuff from like half a day. So
it's fine. And I'm JC. By the time that this episode goes live, we should have gotten through. I've live streamed once real time already, but I have at least 1 or 2 more planned. Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which is the beat 'em up side scroller. I did that on the Whiskey and Waffles Twitch channel, but then I took the live stream and uploaded it as a video game Let's Play, which is the first time we've done one of those on the Cyclops is Waiting for Me channel. But I am specifically giving myself the rule that I am only playing with the X-Men characters during that Let's Play, for the sake of having some sort of shtick with it. There's only 3. It's Wolverine, Storm, and Jean Grey. So
okay, this is a solid trio.
Yeah. And then because of the system of the game, you could just turn it on as an open lobby. So I'll be like going through the helicarrier, and all of a sudden like Venom and Silver Surfer just joined my team. So
that's funny.
Cyclops is Waiting for Me is... actually, I forgot one other thing that I have in front of me. Since Rod was doing his show and tell, I have not played this yet, but I have captured this, which is Rock, Paper, Heroes, and it's an all X-Men setup, but I think it's like the fanciest, most convoluted way of playing Rock, Paper, Scissors ever.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, so I literally haven't even opened it, but I got it. So
I forget. Have you watched Squid Game?
The new seasons? No, I've only watched the first season.
Oh, okay. Once you watch that will be the weirdest game of rock, paper, scissors you'll ever see.
Okay. Cyclops is Waiting for Me is our podcast series. We are going back and watching every single X-Men animated episode that we can find. This podcast started with the original 1992 X-Men the Animated Series, which was building up to the release of X-Men 97. And along the way, we completed X-Men Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men, and we also have our companion interview show, the Xavier Files. Season 2 of X-Men 97 is coming out this summer, but until then, we're going to be diving in deep to Marvel's anime X-Men. I don't know the actual proper name for this show. For my very first time, and then Rod the Goldfish is experiencing it as if it's his first time.
So, I was wondering the same thing, because I've always called it X-Men anime, but as far as the DVD says, this is just X-Men.
Yeah, well, that's
so,
not
like,
going to help us from an SEO perspective.
So I guess, like, and we mentioned last episode, this is like a Sony production, which is such a funny thing. You know, it's like not Fox, but it was during the Fox era, and there's obviously a lot of movie elements in it, like the mansion especially is very like movie coded and stuff. But Fox is not mentioned on this. It's a Sony Pictures thing with Marvel, and it's the X-Men. And it literally just says X-Men in English, and then I'm assuming that's X-Men in Japanese underneath it, but someone who knows better can tell us. But it's funny because everything that this DVD says it is would only confuse us more, because it says X-Men animated series.
Yeah, that actually helps us less than anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, some quick reminders. We'll recap show about a series that started over 15 years ago. There will be spoilers. If you don't want it spoiled for you, pause the podcast, watch the episode, whether that's on DVD or wherever else you can find it, and come back. We're currently not sponsored by or affiliated with Marvel Animation, Disney, or Disney Plus. I guess Sony now in any way.
It's not necessarily true with regard to Sony for me.
Okay. I'm not.
You're not. No, I do some work with the marketing team for Sony PlayStation, so I do have to disclose that if Rod's going to say I'm not.
Oh, I have a PS4.
Cool, thanks.
That I didn't know doesn't play DVDs. Take that to Sony. Ask them why I can't play this fucking DVD on PS4.
Yeah, I'm sure the marketing people I work with on PlayStation 5 games are going to answer, hey, why does your system from fucking 2013 not play fucking DVDs?
You know, though, we'll extend my dumb luck with like predictions on shows and movies.
Oh no.
Into real life with that, because you don't know. Okay, so this is going to start dark, but it's going to get funnier. Or kind of funny. So I thought my neighbor died. Because I came home one day and there was I live in like kind of a duplex type situation, and so I came home one day and there was like ambulances and fire trucks surrounding my place. I was like, oh my god. And then they brought a stretcher into my neighbor's place, and then it came out empty, and then they brought in a plastic bag. And then I was just like staying out of the way, but then I saw the outline of a person in a plastic bag as I got carried out, and then I texted one of my other neighbors, was like, do you know what happened to, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't know. And then I was telling another neighbor about it, and I was like, I don't want to say because I don't know, but, and I said, I was like, unless it's something weird, like, the way that paramedics keep you warm when it's cold is by putting you in a body bag, then I don't know what else could it be. And then I just ran into my neighbor's like partner, and I was like, how is so-and-so doing? They're like, oh, they're cool. I was like, okay, I didn't want to scare anybody, but I saw him get carried out in a plastic bag. It's like, oh, he was cold, so they put him in a plastic bag when they put him on the gurney again. I was like, okay, I was just making a dumb. I have nothing to do with the medical field, but I guess that's something that happens when it gets cold out. If someone's cold, they'll wrap them in plastic and then put them in the ambulance. So anyway, they're recovering now in the hospital, but they didn't die. They were just cold, so they got wrapped up in, I guess it wasn't a body bag, but it was plastic that resembled that. So who knows? Maybe your marketing people at Sony do know.
Don't forget to follow us on social media at Cyclops IWFM Pod on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and TikTok.
Now onto the show.
The
like how
fucking walk that it took to get back to that, Rod. Holy shit.
Now onto the show. Today we're going to be talking about season 1, I guess the only season of an episode 2 titled Human. Which, if you haven't picked up on, it's human than X-Men. Well, actually, speaking of, I saw, maybe this is an old joke, but I didn't realize this. So I saw a meme the other day that was like, there's a reason that Charles went with his last initial to name.
Instead of his first initial?
Yeah.
I feel like that joke had been made before, but the one that's been floating around recently had a really good artist that did the rendition of it, where it's Xavier and Cyclops staring at a like a dry erase board or a chalkboard with the giant C on it. So can't vouch that it's a brand new joke, but it's a very well done version of the joke. Yeah,
that was funny. So there's a lot of letters dash men jokes there in this universe.
Yep. I believe I also did see a a new X-Men podcast popped up that is run by two trans women, and it is literally X-Men EX-MAN or MAN. So yeah, nice. They popped up in our feed recently.
That's fun.
Yeah.
This aired on April 8th, 2011 in Japan and October 28th, 2011 in the US. It currently sits at a 6.9 star rating on IMDb. I'm trying to think if I like this one as much as the last one or not. I feel like this one was more action-packed.
Oh, it was definitely more of an action episode, no doubt. If your not complaint, but your criticism of the last one was like, that was a lot of fucking setup, there was shit at least happening in this episode.
Yeah, this one there was like it's still just a couple story points, but there was like a lot of action.
There were two clear fights happening in this episode. So
yeah. But this time there was no cold open. You just went straight into that intro song, which it's funny you said you were going to skip. I don't have the option to skip that because of
because you got to fast forward on it. Yeah.
Yeah, or even because my PS4 doesn't play DVDs, I just have like a video file. So
that's hard because then you're like,
there.
No, fuck that.
Yeah, so it's just kind of I'm like usually I'm eating when I watch this, so I'll probably like take my first couple bites or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, it opens up at like a guarded facility. It's a very anime thing where it's like not completely still, but pretty kind of like
it's like a painted picturesque thing.
Yeah, that like it pans down on this. And okay, so I'm guessing one of these people is Sublime, right?
Yes.
There's a couple. Because my notes here, I didn't know their names yet.
So there's an unnamed U-Man. There is Sublime, who's the guy who's walking around, and then the other guy is Kick. They don't call him out by name in the episode, but in the credits they point out that is Kick.
Is Mastermind the one that has the tubes, or that's still the unnamed person?
No, Kick is the one with the tubes coming out of his head.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Mastermind is who Sublime calls on the phone.
Gotcha. Oh, with the champagne.
Yes. Because he's inner circle. Come on, Rod. He's prim and proper and fancy, man.
It's hard to tell, man, because like another thing, I don't even know if this is necessarily an anime thing. This might just be like a 2010s millennial thing, but everything's like kind of gray washed. So like it's kind of hard to tell. Like
they do put pretty heavy shading in this, so
yeah. And if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, the millennial gray thing, like if you go back and look up like videos from like Owl City and Carly Rae Jepsen, like Good Time and stuff, like kids look at those videos now, like why are they so gray? And it's like that was the aesthetic. Look up Broken Hearted by Carmen. It's like they just didn't color grade it. And like now you recognize it as like you just didn't color grade it. But at the time it was like the aesthetic was like authentic or whatever.
The aesthetic was we're not going to color grade it.
Yeah. So in this opening scene, there's like their version of Cerebro, I guess. Some sort of computer.
Their radar thingy. Yeah.
Yeah, that detects the mutants and is able to detect specifically which ones.
I like that it says mutancy, like it's a disease. Not like they specifically had that written on there. So
yeah, I didn't notice that, and I did like the because however this technology works is working off like a very specific like gene signature. So like they were able to tell like exactly who was coming in based on their power set and stuff.
Yep.
Then inside the Blackbird, we see all the mutants that like were identified in that radar thing, and they're trying to land. They reveal there that Beast has like made an iPad version of Cerebro
before iPads were prevalent too.
Yeah, I think
that would have been early iPad.
Yeah, and maybe that was on purpose. Like it was such like a not. I guess it's not. That's a sci-fi trope, right? Of having like
data pads. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that wasn't on purpose, but it was like, it kind of identified as that, and like him and was it Logan or Cyclops he was talking to?
Logan, because Logan is like, so you're kind of like infringing on Chuck's territory. You think the old man doesn't have it anymore? He's like, it's a very like shit stirrer version of Logan.
Yeah. And it's funny because at first it sounds like he's just stirring some shit up, but then like when it doesn't work for Beast, he's kind of like perplexed. So it's like there was a little kernel of truth to that. Like Beast didn't completely trust, Cerebra, or
it was still Cerebro. I think Cerebra is the computer like in the mansion, and Cerebro is the detection system. I think.
Gotcha. But anyway, that same area is still unscannable for whatever reason. And then my note here is like, yes, and the hunter, his name is Sublime, and he's talked to Champagne Man, who I guess now knows Mastermind.
Yep.
And
the dude loves his fucking metaphors because he starts talking about chess and all that stuff. So it's like it's a little bit heavy-handed.
we know chess is a huge thing in the X-Men universe in every form.
Including including the maybe teaser, maybe little vignette mini-series for Doomsday, yeah.
Doomsday, yeah. Dude, now you got me thinking, what would be great, or not great, like what would be wild is if all these little snippets they put before Avatar were actually bits of longer sequences that were prequels, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if each of these is actually like a 7-minute scene that isn't in the movie, and they just showed us like this bit, which would be the reason to be funny for me is because it's kind of the genesis of this podcast is what they probably should have done with the Eternals.
I hate that this podcast is somehow tied to the Eternals to this day.
Yeah, that's where, for anybody doesn't know, that's where JC brought the idea of this podcast up to me. We were watching.
Yeah, Rod wanted to see the Eternals a second time, so he went with me, and that was the day we decided that this should be a thing.
And I mean, like I said, I acknowledge there's plenty of problems with Eternals, but I, in general, liked it, with the exception of with 12 new main characters, it probably should have had some preface to it. So something like a short online series would have been great.
At least the villain that they fought for the majority of it was completely forgettable Black Goo.
Oh wait.
Yeah, what was his name? The movie you love so much, Rod. What was his fucking name?
Who was the villain in that?
It was
I just remember Tiamat.
It was the black goo deviant.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, fuck that movie.
Well, but that movie still has one of our closest ties to the X-Men, in that it's the origin of adamantium, apparently, in the MCU. Because Cersei, Gemma Chan turned. Did you hear that theory about the fourth Doomsday teaser trailer, whatever that thing was? The Talokan are walking through the desert, but you notice there's Talokan buildings behind, so it looks like the ocean got drained. And
no, I haven't even watched that one, to be honest. So
it's interesting because it's the Thing, Ben Grimm, and Shuri talking to each other, and then Namor is there. But I think it's Eric Voss or someone in New Rockstars that came up with this theory. Maybe the reason that the ocean is drained is because someone, maybe Doom or something, extracted Tiamat. So you take something that big out of the ocean,
I have my own issues with the scale of Tiamat, but anyway.
Anyway, back to the show. Champagne Man, Hunter, the Sublime guy. Then they cut over to the X-Men meeting Hisako's parents.
Where they landed at was I thought it was a chalet, but apparently it's just this big apartment building, right? That multiple people just live in this thing. These parents aren't that rich.
Yeah, it makes sense too, because Japan, it's kind of similar to Korea. Because when I was a kid, we used to go to Korea. Because it's such a relatively small landmass, buildings are usually taller than wider and stuff. Mm-hmm. So they're probably middle class. I do like how very Asian this conversation is, where it's she usually doesn't take the bus, but she had a test she couldn't miss.
Yeah.
And I was I'm used to hearing that because my parents used to make me go to school with the flu, because they're you're not going to miss this test, and I was in 3rd grade. But this, I'm going to guess this time period in Japan is similar to what my parents equate to in Korean culture. Is missing a test even as an elementary school student could derail your entire adult life.
If she's also hitting mutant powers, that means she's probably pubescent, so it's high school, so it's you're really fucking your future if you miss this point,
Yeah, but it's funny things. I feel most American schools be oh, you don't have transportation, we'll figure something out with your test. This one is you will fail, you will not get into the college or get the job you want if you don't take this one test in high school. Did
you get the impression that they were well, the car wasn't working that day? Did you get the impression somebody messed with their car and it was it was a setup scenario?
I just kind of assumed that, yeah, because especially because she had to cross woods to get into the school.
Yeah, here's the thing: they don't need to spell it out, but it felt weird that the X-Men kind of blew that off and just let it go. Okay,
yeah,
they know something's up, but they were nobody. There wasn't even the awkward silent look to each other or anything like that.
But they were slow with the next thing too. The next kid, so.
Yeah.
that tracks. That they were just kind of like, they're rusty. Remember, this is their first mission back in a year.
It should. Logan has probably just been on a 12-month bender, honestly.
Right. Trying, like, if he was just going to be leaving for Madripoor, he was like, really wanting to get fucked up. Yeah, so she took the bus, didn't get back home, and that's when the parents know something was wrong. And then the parents reveal to the X-Men that this is another funny thing. Not funny, haha, but like interesting. More than a dozen other kids who were particularly mutants went missing, and they still sent their child away to take this test. That's how important the test was. And I think this is where they discuss, like, it's hard to tell how many kids went missing because most parents didn't report them because they didn't want a chance people finding out that they were mutants. It was an interesting dynamic because, as you pointed out, when Storm was on the cruise ship, they didn't have a problem with it. And I don't know if that's
which were the Americans, which we know that's a problematic society today. So
so it makes me wonder if, like, I didn't know if it was necessarily. I guess it was Western culture because they were in America, at that time. So, like, if that's just a cultural thing or the specific village, because they do make a point to say it's a small town later on. So maybe it's like the cruise was coming out of Miami, and then they were in New York and LA. So it was like accepted there and stuff because they kind of get the, like, Hills Have Eyes treatment later in this episode from this specific town that they don't get in other places. Yeah.
And I think there was definitely a choice of having it be a small town. Because, like, I mean, I've been to Tokyo, for example. I felt very welcome there, but I also did learn from people like, hey, pay attention to a sign when you walk into a bar or restaurant because there are some that will say no gaijin. So,
Asian culture is not free from racism either. This is somebody who grew up in those spaces. So a bunch of other, so this is like not a new thing. A bunch of kids have gone missing, specifically mutants. So the X-Men decide. And then Logan brings up this is probably
the phone rings.
Oh yeah. But we don't know who gets it.
And the mom goes to get it, and that's when they keep talking, and Logan alludes to it beating the U-Men, and Storm instantly like deflects, and I'm like. Is it because she doesn't trust Logan, or does she not want him to be Logan? Just go into way too much detail of being like, yeah, these are the guys that carve up mutants for parts, and they got your daughter. Sorry.
That is a wild story point to say that they harvest organs from mutants. That, like, this is kind of like if anybody remembers Heroes from the 2000s, like this.
It's very Silo vibes.
Like that. I don't know. I'm not aware of any other like Marvel entity where like getting parts from a mutant will imbue you with powers, like.
Well, it's not that it imbues you with the power like directly, but it's like they like graft things together, so it's like you get versions of it, like like if you took Colossus's hand, you can't turn your whole body metal, but you may have a metal hand.
That's why I've never considered that in the X-Men or this universe, but
it's very like body horror vibes and stuff like that.
I guess they're all kind of treating Logan how he usually acts in other versions of Wolverine, where like, he's just going to accuse the person he knows. And I'm not.
But the dude has good instincts, so I can't really argue with him.
I'm not familiar with the U-Men, so like the way Logan talked about it, it's like Friends of Humanity anywhere else. But.
Except they're not like a public-facing entity.
Yeah. Storm made it sound like it was like the Yakuza or something, like something very like specific. They're like, let's not jump to conclusions, just because they're the bad guys in this area. So I don't know what the dynamic is supposed to be there, but he said that whole thing happens, and then the mom comes back and is like, that was Mr. Fujiwara's, and he said his grandson went missing. This is interesting.
They acknowledge that he's also a mutant. Yeah. Like, why would you just call somebody like to say your grandkid's missing? Like, unless it was like at the time before we get the reveal that's later in the episode of like, hey, your kid and my kid were friends because they were both mutants. So I know your kid's gone. Mine's gone too.
This is an interesting thing to look back on later because like the mom doesn't clock anything wrong with Mr. Fujiwara.
Yeah, like the voice was enough to convince her, apparently. Yeah.
So the X-Men decide to split up, and half are going to go talk to his family, and the other half are going to talk to his employer because they mentioned something about him being a delivery boy or something.
Yes.
And then when they go to the employer, they find out that yeah, well, yeah, I recognize him, but he went missing like weeks ago, like at least a week ago, and that's the first
it came
time
out to roughly like a week and a half, the way they were insinuating.
That's the first time alarm bells rang for any of the X-Men.
Yes.
And then when they cut to the team that went to go meet the family, they were like, "Hey, yeah, the family kept it secret, so that wasn't Mr. Fujiwara called you." So that's when they kind of start figuring out it's a trap. But at the employers, that was the small town moment that we mentioned before, where because like my note here was like, it's funny because the employer is not only not reading the room, but is like slurring mutants.
Yes,
he uses muty here, which is like another interesting thing that they brought into this universe, saying muty. Assuming that people in spandex and like a visor with like a red straight line across it.
That was my problem with it too. So, like, the visor was the one where it was like, that's not like a fashionable thing. This is like, even if you assumed it was a clothing thing, like, why would this guy who's like very small town just be like openly racist with people who are like from at the very least, the big city? Because they don't look like they belong there. But when it was like, oh, why aren't you sending like Beast, who's the smart one, to go interview the guy? I think they probably got a little bit of a heads up of like, yeah, there's a bunch of racists in town. Beast will be better with the family than he will be with the probable racist.
Oh, that's true.
Shop
yeah,
owner.
not have the big.
Because I was like, why would you send Wolverine to the possible hothead? It's like, well, because you gotta get some of the Scott and Wolverine dynamic, but it's also like, yeah, because people in town are going to freak out about Beast. Wolverine and Cyclops just kind of like, I don't know, they look like weird metrosexuals at that point.
I was going to bring up the metrosexual thing. That's another like 2010s thing. I think it died
very
in 2010s.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because having a big blue cat walking around probably would stir some some talk up, especially in an area where like it seems like people don't have a problem with mutant kids going missing.
Yeah, they're totally okay with missing kids.
It's kind of like what Derry or Hawkins, Indiana.
Welcome to Derry. Yeah.
Yo, I know you don't watch Stranger Things, but one of the continuous funny things in Stranger Things.
Did you say cunt?
Continuous funny things in Stranger Things is that besides the main cast of characters, everyone else in Hawkins just accepts that it was a freak earthquake. And
I mean, I know you didn't really watch it, but that was Buffy, where it's like kids went missing weekly from that high school.
Yeah.
You had to have a class of like 700 kids because of how many kids keep getting killed every semester.
Yeah. I'm reading one of the Stranger Things books now. It's a Nancy Wheeler mystery. And they actually bring that up at graduation, that there's several kids, like it's about half the size of the class because they either left Hawkins because it was so dangerous or they just went missing or died.
Right.
But to anybody that's younger than us, that's actually kind of mirrored reality in the 80s because that was the time where the news had to ask you where your kids were.
And like kids would just like disappear into vans and you'd never see them again.
Yeah, that's what the movie Black Phone's about. A lot of 80s, reference to 80s. But I remember seeing like a younger kid, either Gen Z or Gen Alpha, like they clearly didn't like Stranger Things, but one of their criticisms online was like, yeah, like they're trying to make us believe that in the 80s, kids just ran around without their parents knowing where they were. I'm like, that's the one thing that is accurate about the show.
That is the most accurate thing of that show. So that was, you knew when to get back, otherwise you were going to get screamed at or get your ass kicked. That was the protective was fear of getting like grounded.
If you want to have a real life example, if you go on my personal YouTube channel, Rod Kim, there's a video 3 years ago where I sit down and talk to my parents about all the illegal shit I got away with when I was a teenager that they didn't find out about until, what was I age at that time? Like 39 or something. Like, and it was all stuff because like, yeah, I just went riding on my bike like 8 hours of the day and you didn't know what happened in that time. I told them I took flying lessons, like buried beer in the cornfields. At one point I moved out of the house for like a year and they didn't know. So like that that was the 80s. Oh, that was more the 90s, but like, same similar thing. Anyway,
but yeah, so the dude starts to realize like Wolverine's like fist is tensing up and then he's like, oh shit, I didn't really mean it, and then it kind of like gives the impression that if Cyclops wasn't there to pull him away, Wolverine would have just straight up murdered that guy.
Yeah, probably, especially this version.
Yeah.
But even when he backs off, as soon as they walk away, the guy still mutters under his breath.
Oh yeah, he drops the M slur again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's great to do with Wolverine, who has hypersenses.
Right. Yeah. Or even I feel like those two were like still within earshot.
Yeah, probably.
But then that's when we have the conversation with Beast telling Cyclops that the family kept it a secret. The grandfather never called. So it was interesting that whoever called in the end credits of the last episode, we saw Mystique in that thing. So you got to wonder if there's like a Mystique situation happening or something somewhere, because there was no red flags from the voice on the phone. So or we have the possibility that Kick can do something to manipulate voices, since he's like kind of later in the episode you get the impression he's controlling some of the U-Men. Or because Mastermind is involved, then maybe he has an illusion or some shit like that, And I guess I'm just so used to the tropes in X-Men's like, how did that was probably Mystique.
Yeah.
And then that's when my note here is a bug ship chases Scott and Logan. I don't know how else to describe it.
No, that's a pretty good one. Yeah.
It was immediately recognizable by Logan, because he was like, I told you the U-Men. I was like, oh, is that what the U-Men ships look like, I guess? Like,
well, I like how they're riding for a second, and it's like, yeah, remember how like I thought we might be riding into a trap, and then immediately you see the bug ship pop up?
Yeah.
That is one of those things I will say definitely falls into the anime aesthetic, is the design of that ship. That is something I've seen 7 different versions of that ship in various things before.
It's like kind of the bubbly, like shape stuff.
Although I will say in X-Men 92, there were certain Shi'ar ships that did kind of like have that vibe too. In the it was like Deken's side of the Shi'ar forces, but it definitely is an anime vibey art piece. So,
and then Scott ends up taking down the ship, but then are these not Sentinels? These are U-Men?
These are U-Men, yes.
Okay. Comes out, and then in all the other series I'd have my note big old fight scene. This one's big old chase scene.
There's chase scene, and we don't need to go into like individual things, but I do want to point out Scott has his own optic blast, but also his motorcycle has lasers too, and rockets. Like, it's not just him using his mutant power. He also has like artillery.
So I'm gonna guess Tamara has talked about this, but I saw someone ask a question, so I wish I could remember so I could credit them. But they asked a question on social media of like, what are the physics of like having a motorcycle that has rockets on it? Mm-hmm. Like if you're riding a motorcycle and then you shoot missiles out of it,
the kickback.
What does that? Yeah. What does that do to your vehicle?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think it was it might have been James Gunn on the podcast about Peacemaker.
Oh,
because I finally caught up on Peacemaker. So they were talking about, this is not a spoiler really. He has a peace cycle at some point. Yeah. And so James Gunn in the podcast brings up, we never addressed like what happens when you shoot missiles off a motorcycle. It's like,
nor should you. Don't do things that are going to ruin the scene.
Yeah. Would you ever watch that podcast and you like Peacemaker? It's a good podcast. It's like James Gunn, his wife, and Steve Agee. Mm-hmm. Jennifer Holland is his wife, right? Yeah.
Yes.
The 3 of them, and then they have guests every once in a while. The different actors come on, and they kind of talk through. It's really interesting to hear how it's all pieced together.
Yeah.
In his head and stuff.
At that same time, that's when the other group starts getting attacked too.
Mm-hmm. So that's Storm and
Beast are in the Hummer that gets attacked by some bikes, so and they're like driving towards a frozen lake.
And my note here says Storm makes JC's favorite thing happen to stop the U-Men.
Ice wall.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gigantic ice wall.
Yep. This is where I do think that like there's an era of animation that did amazing work.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get into some of like the choreo of events in anime, and you get like a cool thing like the ice wall pops up, one guy tries not to hit it, but ends up veering into it, throws himself into the air, and ends like having this like big explosion. And then the other guy just skids out of the way and stuff. Like there's a placement to the characters that anime forced American animation to evolve because of, and I do appreciate that a lot.
Okay.
No, but we did not get a Akira slide, unfortunately.
Okay, so. Not yet. I honestly don't remember if there is one in this series or not. Then see, during this chase, Scott finally breaks because he has like a flashback of like all the prejudice he's endured. and then that's what kind of like pushes him over the edge for his fight sequence.
Well, he actually like is in a vulnerable position. Wolverine saves him. He's like, "Are you trying to get yourself killed? That's my job."
Yeah.
So.
And then Storm finds a hidden tunnel, like a hologram or something, in the side of the mountain,
yes.
which is very loosely hiding this castle on a hill, essentially. Because then she just literally flies up a little taller. It's like, oh, there's a facility here.
Yeah, it's not exactly a great like thing because it's like, oh, there's a hidden entrance. There's still a building that this guy was doing this delivery to when shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess there's not drones stuff, but if they were flying in the Blackbird over, they would have seen it. Like they just flew a little further over. I don't know. This was a funny setup.
Well, the Blackbird is at those people's apartment right now.
There you
Yeah.
go. And then
you do get a quick good moment where Wolverine is like, there's a problem if I have to be the voice of reason to Cyclops.
Oh, yeah, with Cyclops, yeah. And then, and even though Storm finds a secret hideout, she doesn't go right away. She is strategic. She goes back with the information to the X-Men and walks them through, like, what she found and everything. Xavier is on, like, a call with them, and, I think that's the point where like Logan gloats some more about it being the U-Men and stuff, and Xavier name drops X-Force.
Yes, I'm so happy you paid attention on that. I was like, hell yeah! Like I know we're not gonna get them, but I just love when because he always in the first episode he described the X-Men as a part of his strike team. So I love the fact that this is like military Xavier. Like I got multiple crews going out there to save mutants and. X-Force probably fucks some stuff up. So.
And that's where he reveals that the U-Men harvest organs.
Yes.
Which was like a wild... I didn't see that one coming.
No. You do get a real quick scene between Sublime and Kick where it's essentially like, yep, we got our data retrievals complete, and Kick is really excited to put it to use. So...
Yeah, and then there's a slight cutaway. I don't know the significance of it, but Xavier tries to call the Sasaki Institute.
Yep.
But then it just says it's closed. I'm assuming that's like Japan's equivalent of Xavier's Institute or something.
So I could not think of a reference from 616 Marvel. So I actually Googled it and I was able to avoid spoilers from it. That is specific to this anime universe. That is not something that is referenced from a comic or another piece of media. So
okay, so I guess that's going to come back up.
So we'll find out
later.
Hopefully, yeah.
And then we cut to the X-Men exploring the hideout that Storm found. They say it must have been like an old hospital or something.
Yeah.
Which, interesting placement for a hospispitall. A very inaccessible area.
And then Beast immediately jinxes everybody because he says this is going too easy.
Oh, yeah. Because then they find the suffering mutant that is the delivery boy. I don't know how they recognized him. I wouldn't have recognized him until they did the cutaway.
That was definitely an animation trope because it was like, oh, he's a guy with a stud earring.
Oh, that was okay.
That was all that it was the stud earring that was in the photo that they saw, and it's like
he was like shaved and naked. And he has these tubes coming out of his head. He
had an overgrown arm and shit. Yeah,
he had the was it Rick and Morty that did the thing where like they had this abomination creature and they're like, please kill me. It was like that. Like
I mean that's a trope from other stuff that they pulled, but yes.
But this was like a dramatic version of that.
Yeah.
Then he just basically explodes into a monster. It kind of reminds me of I'm watching Fallout now, and I don't know if this is a spoiler, but like there's that force evolutionary virus that's happening in that universe. I guess it's from the games too.
That's in the games too.
And so this reminds me of that, where it's like overclocking like the mutant gene or something.
Yeah.
And so it becomes this huge monster and attacks and Cyclops.
And it's like, when we say like huge monster, if you're somebody who's a psychopath like Joe Russo that only listens to the podcast without watching the episodes, it's not just like he gets big on steroids. Like, he's so big that he's able to like grab Storm by the waist and hold her in his hand.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like full kaiju, but it's like oversized monster, kind of like what they had in Spider-Man 94 in the X-Men episode that we reviewed. Like, it's that big.
He fills the tunnel. He like obstructs the tunnel. And Cyclops is like, like I said before, like, this is the first time I've seen Cyclops, as you and others have described, as slim. He's like very empathetic. He's like, don't hurt. Like, Logan goes to like attack him, like, you know, rightfully so. But then Cyclops is like, don't hurt him. He's just a kid. Then Beast is doing some infrared like predator scan, and he was like, nah, he's too far gone.
And then Cyclops is still protesting it, being like, it's not right. Like, he's definitely dealing with like all that trauma from whatever happened with Jean and probably whatever escalated to that point.
That's true.
He doesn't want to do it. And then Storm is like, well, sorry, I'm gonna have to kill you to put you out of your misery, and just starts zapping the shit out of him. But it's not enough to take it out.
Yeah, that was my note here. Storm tries to kill the child. Cyclops struggles to kill the child, but the child's killing Storm.
Wolverine trips the child.
Yeah. And then Cyclops finally does his optic blast. I don't know if this was just like anime effect, but it kind of gave a hybrid of like what most people mistake Cyclops' beam as being and the optic blast, because it looks like it shreds away the monster, you know?
So yes, I think that's what it was, but I didn't get the impression it was like from heat. I got it like the impression was because like Scott is letting the full force out on this, and like you actually see tears running down his face as he's shooting it. It's kind of like the equivalent of like staring face first into a gale force wind, where if you stare at the wind long enough, it would start to shred your face, kind of scenario. So I think this is where the science gets a little wonky, because all that's left is the version of this kid who's on his deathbed, but there's no like blood or gore or guts or anything like that. So I think they still had to adhere somewhat to like a Marvel standard with how gross they could get with the animation. So he like knocked the mutant like overclock out of him, for lack of a better phrase. Yeah.
And okay.
Yep. Don't worry about that. Not an earthquake.
And so strips the kid back down to like the, I guess, most basic form he could be. And he immediately, like the first thing he does is forgive Cyclops and just tells him to go save the other kids, because he's aware that it's too late for him. And Cyclops is like just really struggling to move on from that. Like you said, it's a very parallel situation to Phoenix and Jean. Yeah.
And he basically is like, this is what they wanted us to do. They wanted us to kill other mutants, and we did it. Like, he's feeling like he like failed as a leader because he gave their opponent what they want. He had no other choice, which I agree with, but he still had to do it. And it's like, well, yeah, I killed a teenager. I killed a kid, you know?
Yeah, and a mutant specifically. Like it's a, I won't say there's a real world. Like, it's a common tactic with evil people to keep people busy. You pit them against each other. Let's put it that way.
And then we get a moment where Wolverine feels the need to literally knock sense into Cyclops and punches him across the face, because he's like, what the fuck were you doing, man? Like, you hesitated. You still ended up doing what you needed to do, but you also put the whole team at risk because of that. So
that's fair, especially Storm. Like, Storm could have been snapped in half at any millisecond.
Yeah. Because we know Storm is powerful, but like, she's not as durable as Logan is. So if that thing kept squeezing, she'd be screwed.
Yeah.
And then he immediately offers his hand to Cyclops to be like, all right, let's go get these kids.
Yeah. And they find these pods. They find the girl in there.
Yep.
That was to be expected. The twist right before the end, though, is they find Emma Frost. It's kind of funny because I didn't immediately recognize her, but I still clocked it as Emma Frost because it was just like boobs. Like... Also,
the reason I clocked her as Emma is because the shirt was very ruffled. It was like the joke of like the pirate shirt from Seinfeld. The ruffles at the top are like, oh, that's Emma. Yeah. Yeah,
you're in the Hellfire or the Inner Circle.
And then, of course, they do like the quick flash of like Cyclops having the memory of in Jean's blue space of remembering her there. But it was like, yeah, it's Emma. It's like who else is wearing ruffles other than Emma?
Yeah. So I guess that was where you were alluding to before. Is like that was the hint that like Emma was also a victim in the situation. Maybe she was trying to help Jean or something. Or,
maybe
we don't know.
I mean, it seems everything about this, and this is again, never watched it before. People who are listening, please don't spoil stuff in the comments. It feels like it was intentional to leave those two to be found. If they've abandoned everything else from this facility, sent out their human to do their stuff, had this one big like monster fight ready to go, I don't think they would have left them behind unless it was intentional. That's my theory for the end of the episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's true because he made it a point to say that like they knew that the X-Men were going to come at some point.
They extracted data. They're like, you put the data to good use. Was it data meaning like, oh, the data they got from Emma and Armor, or was it the data about Cyclops and team? Like, was the whole thing of fighting Cyclops and team just to slow them down to finish the other data extraction?
And I honestly can't remember if this is the case or not, or was there some sort of like observation thing that happened or something? I don't know. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, then, like that's the cliffhanger. It's like, what did Emma do?
Yeah. I think the piece of this is episodes for anime don't always follow that traditional like 3-act scenario, because the next episode, it feels like it is going to literally just like pick up like the scene right after with Armor and Emma and stuff like that. So the pacing is going to be different than what we've been used to from a lot of the Western series.
Yeah. But this one I enjoyed more for the action, if nothing else, and there was more plot points, obviously, because they introduced a lot of things, like the U-Men, the kids going missing, the racist town, like there's like a lot of like world building and story stuff. So it's definitely picking up. It's a teeny bit slow, but definitely not as much as the first episode. This is like a little bit more on pace with like the shows that we're normally used to.
Yeah, I'm feeling this so far, and that also may just be because I am more into anime than you are. But like, I'm ready for the next episode, and I may do what I don't normally do on this show, which is I may just watch the next episode without taking notes and watch it clean first.
Oh, nice.
Because normally what I do is the first time I watch it is I'm taking notes to get my reactions to it. Yeah. But I may swap it and just watch it, and then when we get ready for our next recording session, then do my note session for it.
Oh, so, there you go. Yeah. And the thing, it's gorgeous. I mentioned that already. What I love most about it, though, is like everybody feels like superheroes. Sometimes that's not always the case. That's one of my biggest gripes about the movies, is that they don't always feel like...
first 2 seasons.
Yeah, they don't always feel... Even Evolutions I like a little bit more than the movies, because at least they were using powers and stuff. The movies were trying to be too grounded, that 2000s, black leather Matrix thing.
Yeah.
And stuff. And this one, like, when Storm's not Omega in this necessarily yet, even though, we forgot to mention that in the first episode, they mentioned, like, Jean being Omega level.
I said it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, well, that was because Wolverine is like, she's Omega. She'll kill us all, basically.
But you don't see Storm go Omega level, but like when she makes the ice wall and she zaps the monster and stuff, like she feels like a superhero. That's been and same even with Scott. Like as much as he's struggling because of his trauma and stuff, like when he's using his powers, he feels like everyone feels like a super. Even Beast, like when he kicks into Beast mode, literally, like that's why I love it. I like any rendition where the superheroes feel like superheroes.
your light does not like showing the cover of that DVD.
Oh, really? Was it just like glary?
Just
like,
fucking, there you go. It was just like pure white.
Right
there
there.
you go. That's what it was. No. So.
It's my key light.
So, yeah, I'm in. I always get nervous when it's like, oh, we're starting a new thing. What if this one isn't as good? And it's like, it doesn't need to be as good as like 97 and the original task was, but it's like, at least it's still good. So I'm happy.
Yeah. I remember liking this. I'm not too worried about it. I'm interested in seeing how much I remember as we go along. Like, at what point is the whole end of the season just going to be like reactivated in my mind or something? Or
I don't know. 15 years ago for you and haven't watched it since. That's a tall ask, I feel like. So
yeah, there was literally, because as we're recording this now, and this trend is probably past, but like while we're recording, 2016 is the new 2026 is like the current trend. So like when I went to go like look at my 2016 photos, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that, and that was like 10 years ago. So
I was skinnier then.
I was a different person then, literally.
Your hair stopped at your ears at that point, Rod.
Yeah, it was at times in that era. It was like almost buzzed. Yeah, and it was obviously dressing different. Some people know the lore, but like there was a lot of stuff that was different. But anyway, cool. Well, yeah. So this is tune in for. We're gonna finish up this series, I guess. We're gonna see because we don't know exactly when 97 drops.
If 97 drops around the time of Comic-Con, we will be done with this. If it drops before my birthday, there will be issues. And if we find out with enough advance notice that there are going to be issues, I may just totally fuck up the whole schedule by adding in interviews and stuff like that. So
there you go. So we'll have a mid-season cliffhanger.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway, thanks for joining us. If you have any thoughts, make sure to drop them into the comments for either the YouTube upload, Spotify upload, or official Instagram post about this episode. If you like what you heard, we'd appreciate a rating on the podcast app you're choosing. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube Podcasts. I'm tired. I don't have anything clever to say.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. This is our first one of the year. We didn't totally fuck it up. I'm fine.